Hello and welcome to Meet Your Inspiration podcast with Meri and Rich. Here we're talking about inspiration, motivation, and empowerment. Our guests are ordinary people who became extraordinary, and with sharing their stories, we want to empower you to become the person you want to be and to go beyond your dreams.
Today, we're welcoming back a good friend of ours, Kathy Hayman. She's back and she's got a new business, Better Minds, Better Business. And we are very excited to have you with us because people occasionally move on and do something new and use a new opportunity. And this is what Kathy's doing. Thank you, Kathy, for coming back.
Oh, thank you for having me back. It's really exciting to be here.
We are excited because we heard so many good feedbacks from your first episode. Lots of people were absolutely impressed with your resilience.
Oh, that's
No
nice.
talk about that. Yes, that was one of the first things I've been taught. What a woman.
Oh.
And when you came up with your new business, we thought that it's time for you to come back and to share that because I'm pretty sure it's maybe again not that easy journey, but it's showing us how we have to keep progressing and opening the next and the next door.
Yeah.
So we're really looking forward to know a bit more about Better Minds, Better Business, and why this come on board. What's happened since our last
Oh, okay. So
meeting?
I actually described to somebody the other day that it feels as if the last few years of my life I've been on this sort of roller coaster. And then I got chucked onto the pinball machine and I was the ball. And I feel now as if I've just been put into the lazy river. And I'm just bobbing along and it's really nice. It's going at quite a pace, but it's just nice. So, yes, that's the sort of journey of life and business, which, I'm sure everybody's got stories about things because nothing happens the way we expect it to, does it?
No, never does.
There's always things that come along that we have to deal with. And, but it's really exciting and I'm very happy sort of to be where I am. So I think where we left it the last time I came to see you was the kind of end of the conscious living story, as in everything that had happened with that, and now it was time to sort of decide where it was going next. So this business is definitely an evolution of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a kind of a brand new business that's not related, because conscious living was all about sharing tools and resources to individuals to help them, navigate life and build their confidence and all of that kind of stuff. And this is an evolution of that. So I don't know if I mentioned last time I was here. Do any of you know Susie Warren-Smith?
Yes, I had the pleasure to be in one room with her on one of the Breakthrough Woman Network events.
Oh, okay.
But I heard from you lots about her. That
she's a force to be reckoned with and a lovely lady. So Susie's had she actually wrote a book. I'm going to do a little plug for you here, Susie. She wrote a book called Swimming on My Own, and I would highly recommend it. It's a very entertaining book, but it's got some really good messages in about the journey of business. And Susie had a very successful business, and she's now helping. She does lots of things, but she's helping other female entrepreneurs with their, to get their business ideas off the ground. So I went to a workshop that Breakthrough Women had run, and she was there, and we had a conversation afterwards. And I said to her, I'd really like to work with you. So back at the beginning of this year, we started to look at how we could pivot what I'd already got into something different. And one of my passions has always been about helping other small business owners because, been a small business owner for a long time and I know how tough it is. So I get a real kick out of being able to help other small business owners in any way that I can. And I've done that a lot through my coaching. And it was just like, how can we evolve this into something that could help them, not just as individuals, but also for their business? And we came across something, we did a bit of research that Susie and I went, that's what this could be. So we found out that in the UK, any business that employs people, even if it's only one, has a legal obligation to have in place a workplace stress risk assessment. And then the sort of policies and the procedures to support that. And what we discovered was that 75% of small businesses in this country don't do it.
And when you talk about the stress, are you talking about the stress of financial stress or
No, so
every
it
aspect?
covers
Maybe.
covers quite a big umbrella, really. So it's when they talk about workplace stress, it is about the stress that is created because of our working environment, but it's also about supporting staff with any aspect of stress. So you might have somebody that's, you know, just going through a horrible divorce or something like that that's having an impact on their work. So it's how do you then support them so that, you know, they can manage the pressures of life while they're going through that. So it's quite an umbrella thing, really. And we discovered all sorts of things in our research that were quite surprising. In fact, I brought a little
Yeah.
sheet with some statistics on because I don't want to get my numbers wrong. I can share if that's okay.
Of course it
Brilliant.
is.
You might be as surprised as I was. So this is a new stat that's only just come out from the British Safety Council this year. Depression and anxiety account for 50% of all working days lost in the UK,
Wow.
equating to an estimated £57.4 billion in lost productivity annually.
Wow.
Do you not think that's shocking?
It is.
Frightening. Really frightening.
50% of all working days.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable, really. 60% of small business owners report running their business has negatively impacted their mental health. Now, when you consider that small businesses in the UK are the backbone of our economy,
Absolutely.
you know, most of the income in the country comes from small businesses. To know that that's the impact running a business has on people, you know, it's like this needs to be looked at. People need to be supported.
They do,
So
absolutely.
there's lots of other stats, which I'm sure I'll just share some more as we go along. But it made us think, okay, there could be a way to do this that we can evolve into something that can really help small businesses. So the upshot of it has been that we've created a model that we can offer the risk assessment piece. One of the things that's happened over the last few months, and I'm going to probably flip backwards and forwards, so I apologise if I go all over the place, but rather than a linear journey. But so much support. I've been networking like crazy. I've met some really amazing people and so much support from people around me, you know. And I'm going to give a little shout out here to Julie McLeish. I don't know if you know her. She's a management consultant, and she's sort of, we've had different conversations about the risk assessment piece because I'm not qualified to do that, but we can offer that to small businesses. So either here's a template, or actually we can do it for you. So we can do the risk assessment, we can get you the policy, and we can give you the recommendations that are tailored to you and the people in your business to help you to support them in the best way that you can. So that is kind of like, I refer to it as the stick. So guys, you might not know it, but you've got to do this, because if you don't, there will be consequences, or there could be consequences. So this is like, let us help you tick that box, but then it goes far deeper than that, you know. So I heard a case study when we were doing the research. It was a retail owner, lady that had a boutique, and she employed 9 staff, and they were overworked, they were understaffed. There was a lot of stuff going on that wasn't great in the business. Staff were taking time off sick, they were complaining, and she didn't do anything about it. The HSE came and investigated, and I don't know if you knew this, I didn't. If you get investigated by the Health and Safety Executive, it costs you £165 a day for the duration of the investigation.
But this is investigation that they just come to do it. Out of nowhere, just decide,
so
or someone needs to.
As a result of a complaint. So somebody could complain to them. What I also found out was, so let's say you've got an industrial area with lots of different businesses in it, and they might have gone in to do a health and safety inspection on one of those businesses. It doesn't have to be around workplace stress, it could be anything. While they're there, they might go, do you know what, we're just going to go and check on all these other businesses while we're here. So it could randomly happen out of the blue, you know.
And you have to pay as a business owner.
Well, if they come in and they find something and they go, oh, we need to investigate this, then you have to pay that.
Wow.
And then what happened with this particular business was they did the investigation and found that she was in breach of her duties for the workplace stress side of things. She got fined £12,000.
Wow. That could
So-
close it down.
Sorry?
That could close it down.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it had a massive impact on her business. But the other things that came out in the research, which would relate to this, that I found really interesting, it's not just about the financial impact, if that happens to you. It's also the impact it has on your staff, obviously, because
And
that's
your
not a
company,
great
your
place.
name.
Exactly, and that's what it is. It's your reputation. So a lot of businesses now, they want to do business with other businesses that are socially responsible. When people are looking for jobs, you know, it isn't like it used to be back in the day when you went for a job and you hoped they gave it to you.
Yeah.
People nowadays, they research the companies that they're going to look at. Do I want to work for that business?
Yeah, exactly.
But as well, here I think, sorry, I'm going
No,
to
go.
say something, but I think here it come a bit the point that recently as well I spoke about that people that are working in businesses, they can be the best ambassadors for the business.
Absolutely.
Because I think nowadays it's not only about what a certain business promote on socials. People are really looking and trying to do their searches if they want to work for certain companies, because again it comes from the people. If you hear from quite few people or you talk to them that are in certain business and they're not happy with, there are issues,
Yeah.
because let's be honest, lots of things are quite polished, lots of places, and this as well play a vital role.
Yeah.
So coming to your point, this is when you try to look for somewhere to move
Yeah.
and you start really people who are looked after.
Yeah.
They will of course go and speak with absolutely praise for the
Yeah.
place where they are. And you can see it as well on
Yeah.
their happiness and motivation and everything.
Yeah. And the outcome of these investigations is public record. So it can be found, you know, you can't hide from it really. So from the stick perspective of you need to do this for this reason, that's kind of the starting point. But then for me, as a coach and the way that I am, it's about how can we actually give the real support,
Yeah.
you know, within the business. So just to sort of step back in the story, decided this is what we're going to do, and Susie went, right, off you go, you can do this. Now, because of what had happened before, you know that with conscious living, we lost a lot of money, and I needed to get an investor on board. And there were two things that Susie said to me. And she said, the first thing is, if you could find someone to do the online aspect of what you're doing, so it's not an app, but it's kind of a web-based portal, you know, all of that. If you could find somebody to do that for you as an investor in the business, that will save some of the money that you would have to take in from a financial perspective. So your investment financially would be less.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I have no clue where I'm going to find these people. Like, you know. But it's on your radar, isn't it?
Of course, yeah,
you know, so you're like, okay. And I, networking, as I said, and I came across a guy. We had a one-to-one, had a bit of a chat with him about my branding and whatever. And in the course of that conversation, he came back to me afterwards and he said, so he does all of the branding and the design and the pretty bits of the website. And he's then got a guy that he works with who does the techie side.
Yeah.
And there's some overlap, but that's kind of how it works out. And they work on projects together. And he said to me, we've been looking for a business that we could get involved in. We'd like it to be in the wellbeing sector because that is something that's close to our hearts.
Yeah.
We really like the concept of what you're putting together. Can we have a conversation?
Wow, amazing. Goes to show, doesn't it?
So I'm going to give a shout out to
Yeah.
Sean Lane and Dominic Potts, who have come on board with me. And they've come in as sweat equity investors and they're doing all the work behind the scenes. And I'm absolutely loving working with them. They're such great guys and we have a lot of fun. And they're really, really invested in making this work, you know. So that was something that I didn't foresee that, you know. So I had no idea where this is going to come from. And there it came, you know.
Well, your energy
So-
is infectious. So I'm sure as soon as you sat down and chatted with them, I'm sure they were absolutely
Yeah, but it's
wonderful.
thank
again
you.
how you attract
Yeah,
exactly
exactly.
to meet in
Yeah.
that room on that
Yeah.
place the people that are looking for that.
I know,
Honestly,
it's
I
awesome.
love that.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, that's ticked that box.
Yeah.
Still needed a little bit of money. And before Sean and Dom got involved, a friend of mine had said that he would be willing to have a conversation with me about it. But because he didn't know anything about my business, he's in construction, he said, I'd like you to talk to a friend of mine who has some experience. And we started down a road of conversations about that. And I was really excited, thinking, like, this is it. But as the time went on, for lots of different reasons, it just didn't feel like the right thing to do. And part of it was because of the friendship angle, and part of it was because with the other guy, we just didn't seem to be aligned in where
you want to go.
Yeah. And I went through a sort of a period of, well, maybe he's right, perhaps I should go with his ideas. But I knew inside that it wasn't right for me. And I had to make the decision to say no. And that was really tough.
That's very important, though. Sometimes you have to make that decision, because if your passion's not behind it, you won't have the same drive to push it forward. And that's what's so important.
And I just felt that, there were too many things about that situation that could have made it even harder as we went on. So I made the decision that I was going to say, I'm not going to go ahead with it. And this was in June, so not long ago.
Yeah.
And I sort of had a bit of a meltdown moment. I'm like, okay, this is another twist on the roller coaster. So I made the decision that it wasn't the right thing to do. And it was quite a tough decision to make because, it was like here potentially was some money and I was walking away from it. But I knew in my heart of hearts it was the right thing to do. And I didn't know what that meant and what was going to come next. And I had a bit of a sort of, I wouldn't call it a meltdown, but I was just like, now what? So I made the decision that I needed to get away for a few days. So I contacted friends of ours, really lovely friends, who've got a caravan down near Dymchurch. It's a really sweet little van on a little site, right tucked out of the way. There's hardly anybody there. And she went, yeah, come and get the keys. It's yours for the week. So Tom and I drove down on the Sunday. He went back to work on the Monday, and I spent the rest of the week on my own. No TV, no Wi-Fi. I just chilled.
Absolutely.
The first night I was there, I slept for 11 hours, and I don't think I've done that since I was about 5 years old. I obviously needed it. And I walked on the beach. I got attacked by a seagull who took my ice cream straight out of my hand. How dare he?
How dare, yeah.
But yeah, it was just a really good time. I read a lot, I listened to stuff, and I just, really sort of recharged my batteries and was like, okay, I'm ready to get back into it and see what happens next. And the day before I came home, I got a phone call from someone in my support network who has just been really amazing throughout the whole thing. And he said to me, have you made a decision? And I said, yes, I'm not going ahead with the other guys. And he said, well, I've been thinking about it. How about I put the money in?
Amazing. That's fantastic.
And again, I did not see that coming, It was just, he said, I really think what you've got now is a really robust business. So I'm excited to be part of it. He's actually based up in the Midlands. He knows a lot of people that could potentially be clients. So from that perspective, it's not just his financial input, it's his sort of networking and support in lots of other areas. So I was like, let's do it. And that was in July. And we started from then. The business was actually launched, I think, on the 27th of July, set up at Company's House. And we've been working on it ever since to get it ready for launch, really. And we're very, very close. So, just that whole roller coaster thing, you just never know what's around the corner. But if you could just keep moving forward, then the path kind of unfolds and the things that are meant to be come into place, don't they?
They do.
I just can't believe how, the people appear. You took the decision you're going to go, thanks to, obviously, Susie's mentoring and advices, and now...
Escape to luxury at Hempstead House Hotel and Spa, an elegant country house hotel in Bapchild, near Sittingbourne, Kent. Relax with indulgent spa treatments. Dine in style with exquisite cuisine. Perfect for getaways, weddings and events. Experience luxury in the heart of Kent. Book your stay today.
Be the first to discover Kent's best events all in one free app. What's On in Kent is a new and rapidly growing app where you can find days out information, places to eat, festivals, concerts, markets, and much more around you. Just with few clicks on your phone or computer, you can stay updated with real-time info and explore events across Kent. Don't even think twice. Just download. It's free. How far you are now and what is coming for the business?
So where we're at with it is that, as I said earlier, we've got the risk assessment piece, but then the rest of it, so the online portal that Sean and Dom are working on, is all about providing lots of tools and resources, both to business owners and to their staff. So it's videos and quizzes and PDFs and ebooks and on all sorts of topics that are related to
culture. It's really around business culture, is it?
It is really, yeah. And so from the owner's perspective around business culture and how do we deal with, situations that arise at work. And then from the employee's perspective, so one of the things we found out is that people like to have control over what they access. So they want it on demand when they want it in a confidential way. So that side of the portal, that's how it be built. So although there'll be analytics and statistics available to the business owners, they won't know what any of their staff have accessed, who's accessed what, to keep it confidential, really. Yeah. So the first module that we're putting in there is about how to sort of calm yourself when you're having a stressful day. Sort of little tips and tricks to go and do to, get yourself back into a place where you can get through the day without feeling like your head's going to explode.
Sometimes I think everybody needs that.
Yeah.
That sounds absolutely so. Yeah. Basically, what it is, a business. If they come in some kind of like subscription, or how it's right. Exactly.
Yeah. So the other two elements of it, which create the membership model, really. So there's the portal with its information. Then there's a directory full of coaches and different types of therapists that are all coming on board to offer their services. So whether that be from an owner's perspective or from a staff member. So we mentioned earlier, let's say someone's going through a difficult divorce, they could access a divorce coach through the portal. So, and there's a whole range of different people with different modalities coming in. So, and that ticks another box for me, because for a lot of those people, they are also, solopreneurs building their own businesses. And so this is a way to support them, so that they've got access to more business themselves. That was part of
let's say if someone wants, let's say for the divorce coach, or is the business paying for, or you personally, or this is about how
the business could pay for it, they could subsidise it, or they can just recommend it, and then the person can pay for it themselves. So we'll keep that sort of flexibility
because it
there,
should
really.
be flexible, because it depends on the size of the business and everything, and it's not
what they can manage.
Because within Wellbeing, obviously, there's so many aspects, isn't there, on Wellbeing, sort of to do with like food, business culture, environmental aspects, legal things that all affect all of us every day.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've got an HR lady coming on board, an employment law person, all sorts of different aspects of it. And then the other side is about soft skills training, because one of the things, and I'm sure you've both come across this, I know I have in various guises in my life, where things that happen in a business that cause stress for everybody around them that could have been avoided with a little bit of training. So there was a story I heard recently, which I thought was horrific for the poor woman that had worked for a business for 30 years. She was in the admin department. She knew everything about that business and was very well liked and respected. One of the managers left, and they said, you can be that manager. Put her into the role with no support and no training. She wasn't very good at it. She didn't like it. She started falling out with everybody around her. And shockingly, 9 months later, they sacked her.
After 30 years.
Well,
and that's just
have no idea how to deal with that individual situation.
Right. Yeah. So they didn't know how to deal with it. She didn't know how to deal with it. And it created so much stress in the whole company that was completely avoidable.
But I've got here one question. Because all around, and since I started networking, which is a year and a half, or even in businesses, so you can hear people are talking more and more about that, the alert, to know about all these things. So in theory, lots of people know them, but they don't put them in action. How this works exactly? Why? Because that situation specifically, if you are quite good business and with good reputation, and you've got someone that worked for you 30 years, how are you going to sack them just because they didn't perform well on something that 95% it's your fault because you just put them there. This is
Yeah.
what I don't
Yeah.
understand.
I don't know the specifics in
Yeah,
that
yeah,
particular
of course
case,
you
but who knows what was going on in the business at the time. There was a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. But
People
they just
don't ask for
reacted
the
to
help
it.
then.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the key,
Yeah.
isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Because
to
it's
have the
very
right
easy to
skill
blame
sets.
someone, but it's, if you look, and even if it's not 30, they might be 10 years, they might be 5, but if someone obviously perform or done well, there is something good with that person and they can do it. It's all about the training. And sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes I'm getting a bit fed up of everything. Like, I haven't received a training for that, I haven't received, and sometimes they're super simple things. Then you think, like, are you really serious? You need a training? Because I think sometimes people are taking it a bit too much. Or they get very quickly, I'm under depression, or I can't go to work now for non-reason. And I think we had this conversation a long time ago with our Wellbeing guests, that unfortunately, the balance needs to be found.
Of course it does, yeah.
Because
But my view on it is that if we give the individuals the mindset, tools and resources that they need to be strong and be resilient, to communicate well, to be confident, they won't just be going sick because they won't want to.
No, of course.
Because they'll be feeling differently about it. So that, for me, my intention for all of this is that it creates that balance. I had a lady speak to me recently who her dad had started the business 47 years ago and was just deciding to retire. Her brother had been working the business for about 20 years in a very specific role. And the dad kind of said, you can step into my shoes. And he's really struggling. He's got no leadership skills. And she said to me, we really need to talk because we could do some training here. So we're having that conversation at the moment. So when you think about those kind of situations that happen in any business because things change all the time, how do you manage them and how do you give the support to everyone to make sure that they happen seamlessly and everybody's in a good place?
It happens so often as well. So, particularly with that family businesses, people get promoted into positions like that.
So my daughter, she does a lot of sales and communication training, and she said she sees it all the time. People that have been in a technical role who are really good at what they do, and they go, you can go into sales. Selling is a very specific skill set, and typically a technical person doesn't have those skills. You can't expect someone to make that transition without giving them the support they need.
With the right support, and they might be, and if they're willing to do it, most probably they can be good. But...
And even with the lady who'd been there 30 years, had she been given the training and support, she might have gone, do you know what? This isn't for me. I'd rather go back to where I was. They could have got someone in who was much better for the role. And then it helps everyone,
Of course. So when you're planning to launch this, or it's already...
we're working on all of the online stuff, which is the bulk of where the work needs to be done. We're nearly there with it. We've been doing some amazing things with AI. I have to say, it's been blowing my mind what's available out there. So that's really sort of helping, and it's put us on a real learning curve, really. So we're hoping to launch in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
That's really fast.
Yeah. Like you said, you asked earlier how it's going to be. It will be 3 different tiers of membership that give you different aspects of it. And then priced according to the size of the business. So, and not on a per employee basis either, for the actual business.
But it's definitely something that is for small businesses. It's not like...
It is. And one of the things that came up in my whole journey over the last 6 months was about saying we should be focusing this on big businesses. And I was absolutely adamant I don't want to do that because they do it anyway. Now, they might not do it well, but they do it. They have HR departments who have to look after this stuff, So it's to me, that is a saturated market that there was no point trying to become another player in that. And also because, for me, it's about helping small businesses to be the best they can be. So, from a mindset perspective and a skills perspective, and supporting the business owner, to be able to do this. One of my other statistics is 9 out of 10 employees will stay with a company if they really have a robust wellbeing program in place. They will stay. I spoke to a guy a little while ago who, I think he said he had 5 staff. He said, I have a high turnover of staff. He said, but it's the cost of doing business.
No.
It's not.
Like, so if you employ someone on a £25,000 salary,
Yeah.
cost you a minimum of £30,000 to replace them.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, you wouldn't. You just
And then
they
you've
wouldn't
got to
do
pay
it.
I
their
don't
salary
think
again.
lots of people realize that.
Yeah.
It's funny enough, recently I had a chat with someone that was trying to convince me on the same thing that, yes, when you need, or I think the easiest example is if you don't give to someone, like how it's called, increase.
Yeah.
And at some point, person is leaving, straight away, the new person that will come, they will be on a higher
Absolutely.
salary. From there, definitely you will pay more, but then you have to
You might pay
obviously depend
recruitment
of
fees as
the
well. Yeah.
which
Really
not
nice.
That's the thing,
very
the-
small
The
amount.
costs of employing a new person
Yes.
exceeds what the salary is, and then you've got to pay their salary
Yeah.
anyway.
And then you need the
Yeah.
training all this time.
Yeah.
So at the end, I don't understand. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it's always the situation or the
Of course,
occasion,
yeah.
but if we talk about people who are really good in what they're doing,
Yeah.
I can't see why you would go the other direction. If I'm the person who is owning the
Absolutely.
business, I
Yeah.
will keep my best
Yeah.
players for sure, and I'm going to do as much as I can for them.
Yeah.
And here I will know that one of our guests, he absolutely surprised me. I think it was Malcolm Palmer. He
Yeah.
said that he always pay more and he always have an extra staff. Because that's the only way his staff is not overwhelmed. His staff is doing the job as best as they can, and they've got the time
Yeah.
to improve the work and themselves,
And learning.
which is
Constant
unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
learning and
absolutely
growing.
awesome
Yeah.
formula for
Yeah.
success.
And it's
Yeah.
interesting what you said about maybe not for big business, but actually as a resource, actually for the people and staff, it could be really valuable still, because a lot of people in a big business, it does go through the HR departments and things, but actually sometimes they can be quite
Not
remote.
always got the support.
No, they don't always have that support because they can
No.
be quite remote.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly in a really big organisation. So
Yeah.
having it as a portal available to everyday members of staff can
Yeah.
be super valuable.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying no to the large businesses,
Yeah,
obviously.
it's just for your focus at
My
the
focus
moment.
right now
Yeah.
is to get it out into the SMEs. But even then, I mean, that takes you up to 250 employees.
Oh,
So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
You
which
know,
is
so we're not closing any doors on anything.
No.
But
Yeah.
my primary focus at the moment in terms of marketing and where my passion lies is in getting it out to the smaller business owners that, you know, have
And
got staff.
And SMEs today, that they really need the support and help because they've
Absolutely.
got so much stress. And the thing is, their stress is often the fact that they don't have the ability now to have more staff. We talked about the comfort
Yeah.
level, about how many staff we could have. Actually, the reality is that because there's so much pressure on costs across every single
Yeah.
business, whether it's to do with energy, whether it's to do with the staff levels, whether it's the resources and buying things in, everything's
Yeah.
become more expensive, whether it's like national insurance and tax and all those things,
Yeah.
they're all putting so much pressure on the businesses.
Absolutely.
And having the opportunity to invest and grow is sometimes, although it's vital for every business, it's an area where everyone's like really struggling.
Yeah.
How do we do it?
And that's really why the intention has been is to come up with a model that's easy to access, gives all of the support across all the aspects of where the stress comes in, and is affordable. It's cost effective. Because when you actually look at, I think it was Deloitte did a study, and they said that small business owners reported, and obviously I don't know how they calculated this, but they do, don't they, with these
Yeah.
stats? For every pound they invest in well-being, they got a £5 return. So 500% return, that's huge.
Of
You know?
course.
So although it might look like we've got to pay out for this at the moment, when you look at the knock-on effect it has to their actual bottom line in staff retention, I mean, one of the things I learned about, shows what I know, I didn't know the term presenteeism. Presenteeism is about, and it's become a big thing since COVID, people going to work when they're unwell, whether that is physically or mentally, because they feel they've got to.
Yeah.
Either because they're not going to get paid if they don't go, or because they're going to get a lot of
Exact-
grief if they
yeah.
don't go. So they go to work, but actually
They're not-
it costs the business so much money because they're not productive.
Of course.
They make mistakes, their performance isn't what it should be, and it has an impact on their colleagues. It's that in itself costs businesses such a lot of money. So it's kind of like investing this small bit now that then helps with all of that, keeps your staff, keeps them happy, keeps them engaged, keeps them creative and innovative. So part of what we want to do is promote that kind of thing. Involve your staff in your business. Get their buy-in to what you're doing, and reward them accordingly, and everything changes. So you could say in some ways it's a bit, somebody said to me, do you not think you're being a bit naive? That businesses need or want this? It's like, absolutely they need it.
They need it 100%.
They might not
If
know
I
they
will
need
talk
it.
about on a small stat of people around me,
Yeah.
I would say it's hugely needed. But it's good the
So it's getting it across to them,
businesses to understand
what the benefits are to them, because they might go, well, maybe I need it, but I can't afford it, or I don't want to, or it's going to be too hard. So the whole business model is really there to try and help people go, we're going to make this easy for you.
Sounds quite easy.
With
You've
lots
got
of-
the
we're
portal,
gonna be
you've
doing
got the
lots of
access.
workshops. We're going to create our own podcast. Would love you
Yeah.
guys to come and be our guests.
Because this is what I was thinking, maybe because of the way how you're going to do it, and this portal will give you that opportunity to have people even like Susie with
Yeah.
some great advices and shares for the people, or any sort of people, experts in different areas. And I assume quite a lot of from the previous conscious living you took as information that you had, which can be very helpful now.
Yeah. So what started with that was a year ago now. So Zoe Cairns NC Live is coming up next week.
Yeah.
Don't know if you guys are going.
Of course,
we
we are
first met
there.
you.
Yes.
exactly.
You heard me speak last
Yes.
week. And people came up to me afterwards. I had two business owners, small businesses, said, could we offer this to our staff? I'm like, yeah, absolutely you could. And we onboarded them. But conscious living in the form it was in wasn't right for businesses.
No, it was a bit more
what sparked the
personal.
idea in my mind of maybe this needs to be an evolution. And then my conversation with Susie, she was like, you need to go this way. So although it is a new business, it is an evolution of what came before, and isn't it funny? Because you think, a year ago it would have been, right, this is it. And here we are a year later, and it's something different.
I love you because you are absolutely great example of that. First of all, resilience. I would say once again, if you missed the first episode, go and check, because you will be amazed what this woman was through and how she achieved, and how you don't stop. You just think, how can I do it better and different? And it's now this formula, I think, sounds absolutely awesome. Yeah. And please remind me if it's in your stats, because I never knew. I've got the feeling that I heard from you, the Women Business Show, your workshop, that about small businesses in UK are actually the highest percentage of income they do for the country. Was it you,
right.
or it was... Because
so
I would always think that they're big businesses and big corporations.
It's up in the 90%.
Yes.
I don't know.
It was somewhere there.
95 or 98% it comes from small businesses.
This is unbelievable. When I heard that, I was shocked, if I must be honest.
Because you think about all the massive corporations you've got, and the big industries and whatever, you think they must be the bulk, but actually it's the other way around. And we could get into a whole political conversation about the lack of support for small businesses, but I'm not going to go there.
It's just interesting, how, lots of things we don't know. And that reminds me, the other stat, what was that when you said about that new term you learn? It was Anwin from Tribal.
Oh, yeah.
What she was saying, 96%? What was it? We've got a short about that. That huge percentage of people who are not engaged with their work.
Absolutely.
They just go, tick the box, they go to work.
Yeah, they need to get paid, and that's
yeah.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
Thing is, we should go to work because we really enjoy it, and there are so many ways that we can enjoy our work, and actually working together in better teams, and actually motivating people to make sure that they see that actually they can all help one another. And the leadership is not just, a lot of people talk about leadership and say leadership is like, well, it's my boss, it's my manager. But actually it's about leadership is within the team. Yeah. We can all lead our colleagues in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And sometimes people get into this negative sort of almost down the drain effect, and we get that spiral and we get caught in, and everyone goes, oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that. I know that. But actually, if we turn it around and push it, and everyone then goes to work feeling actually really motivated and lifted and strengthened.
Yeah.
But that's why you can see companies who are absolutely thriving and
Absolutely. But it starts at the top.
yeah.
It does, yeah.
If you can get it right with the business owner and it filters down, then you create a culture that enables people to thrive.
It does. And it's like our good friend David Chabot, he said it goes from the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
And all
and
the
back
way
and
back.
back. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's exactly
It is.
isn't it? Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for it, and we, as I said, we're about to launch, and I'm looking for 5 businesses to come into the pilot, and we're going to offer them lifetime access to the whichever membership they come in at 50% off. We'd like them to come in and try and break it, so we know it's robust. Give us lots of feedback. Kind of come on that journey with us. I've got 2 businesses that have already signed up for that.
3 more spaces
3
if
more spaces,
anyone
I
is
mean,
interested.
Absolutely.
Find
Maybe by the
Kathy.
time this goes out on air, I will have already got them. But be very happy to talk to anyone who's a business owner who's just interested in having a chat about this and finding out some more of what it can do for their business.
Well, like you said, it's got the opportunity to change their business, and if they can increase the well-being within the business by 5 times and their productivity by 5 times, wow, that's transformational for any business.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
No, Kathy, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you
for
for
coming, sharing with us another inspirational story, and wish you all success about that.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure seeing you both again.
And we'll keep in touch, and who knows what's coming. We do it always surprise what can be coming, but I'm sure we'll be all good.
So we look forward to sharing a little bit more about Kathy's story, maybe in a few months' time. Maybe there'll be a third update, which will be really good. If you're really interested in this, please do have a look at the link below, and you'll find all the contact details. You'll find the website, and have a real good look, because it's something that I'm sure you'll find valuable. We hope you've really enjoyed today's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please do give us a subscribe and a like, and we'd really appreciate that.
And if you want to support our project and help us a little bit, please check the link below, buy me a coffee, and support us with however you can afford. Thank you very much, and see you next time.